employees, senior level management to shake your hand, give you a hug, very, very excited to see you. And I always used to joke that when I'm with Louis, it's like walking around with a rock star. So I just had to throw that out there.
Well, thanks, Chuck. Thanks.
And in fact, when we get into this, I want you to talk a little bit about how you do identify with all levels of management down to frontline employees, because I was always impressed by that. But before we get into that, what did you bring for us today, Louis?
Chuck, I have got a wonderful coffee mug. Comes from beautiful southern Colorado. It reminds me of my wife and myself when we went on probably our best vacation ever, which every vacation I go on with my family is the greatest vacation ever. But this one was very memorable. It was out in Colorado, up in the mountains, and we were riding horses for an entire week. And it was just a wonderful experience. And in our business is all about creating memories, Chuck. Mm-hmm. And this coffee mug certainly reminds me of those memories.
Excellent.
Now, it's only filled with water, not coffee, but cheers to you, and thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, of course. You know, I should have added cowboy at heart to the introduction. And I know you're a cowboy at heart because you're from Texas. So why don't you tell us about your journey, where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Thanks, Chuck. Originally, I was born in Texas and lived there for approximately 33 years. I started in the hotel business in Texas and started at a roadside motel when I went to college. And I wanted an easy job. And the hotel business sounded like a very easy job, and had no interest in really pursuing the industry until I got into it. Once I got into the business, I was hooked and really pursued my dreams and aspirations and said, I want to be a general manager. And from the time that I was 18 years old when I started in the business, I was a general manager just after my 28th birthday of a 4-diamond Hilton hotel in Houston, Texas. And my career started and has gone from there. And I love this business. I love the people in this business. I love what we do. And I love the leadership aspect of being in that hotel and seeing all the results accomplished for the owners, for the guests, for the employees. It's just a wonderful feeling. So once I was a general manager up until about 2003, and I got promoted to be an area vice president with Hilton Hotels. And, absolutely loved that job. I oversaw up to 20 properties in the Florida and Puerto Rico area. After that, I went to Nickelodeon Suites Resort, where Chuck Samikian was the best HR director at Nickelodeon Suites Resort. You were the best one there. My favorite. You were my favorite.
Of course, I was the only one, but I appreciate the sentiment.
No problem, Chuck. No problem. You got to recognize talent when you see it. So once I left Nickelodeon, the owner sold the property, and I went out and I started doing consulting. And my dream has always been to own my own company. And what I did was I pursued that with a developer and found financial backing. And we ended up owning several hotels in the Central Florida area, and we also managed those hotels. So I was president of the management company and co-founder of the development company. And I sold out of that last year. I wish I could say it was because I was so smart, but I did sell my share out of that last year and decided to go back into consulting, where I had a little bit more control over my own time. So since that point, for the past year, I've been doing consulting assignments that I've been able to find.
That's awesome. And I'm going to come back to the consultant piece because I really want to hear about that. But you've had some traits that have propelled your career, that have taken you to the next step. And one of the things that I liked about working with you when you were the managing director of our hotel was You were a very calm, very even keel person. And we went through a lot of crazy times, right? We went through a lot of crazy times. And it's the hotel business behind the scenes it's not easy. There's a lot, we put a lot of work into it. Everyone's very, very passionate. Everyone has an opinion. And you manage a diverse group of folks. But one of the best traits that I saw you bring to the table was your even keel, calm approach. So can you talk about that and any other traits you utilized to accomplish your success in your career?
Sure, Chuck. I'm happy to do that. One of the best things that I feel, as you recognize, I do stay calm, and I try to stay. I don't like just. I do not like people see me sweat, as the saying goes. I believe that leadership, if you're going to be a good leader, you've got to be a consistent leader, and being calm, especially in adversity or adverse situations, is the utmost of importance. And you can't let your feelings, you can't let your emotions get to you when you're trying to lead a group and when you're trying to make decisions, because even though some decisions you have to use some type of emotions to make those decisions, you can't let that show, because they really need to be more fact-based than emotional based. And the reason I bring up emotions sometimes is because we are in a people business, and everybody has a sensitivity or with how you will manage them. So I definitely believe that. I definitely believe staying calm. I definitely believe in giving people respect. Everybody earns the same respect, regardless whether you're a dishwasher in the hotel or you're the human resources director. Everybody gets that same respect with consistent management, a consistent leadership style. And although you learn how to, you learn the goals of each and every individual in your property, you still manage them consistently. And then you help them by knowing their goals. You can help lead them to help define their careers better, or to get the results and accomplishments that they want. So I think that's very, very important. Another important attribute, I think, is listening. It took me a long time to learn that in my life. I think that's the hardest trait that most people have to do, and to listen to people is very important. Planning is very important. I'm a huge planner when it comes to, this is the direction where we need to go, and I like to make sure that everybody in the hotel knows the direction that we're going. It's a roadmap. So I want Chuck Samikian to know that we're going to go from point A to point B, and this is how we're going to get there. Sure, we may have a few bumps in the road here and there, but we're still going to get from point A to point B. And there's a reason and a how-to on how we're going to do that. So those are some of the things. And I think the utmost trait that you have is that you're responsible. As the leader in that hotel, I am responsible for everything that happens. Everything. Yeah, it's not a blame game. It's not, oh, it's Chuck's fault, it's HR's fault. And I think, you work for me. We worked together for 6 years. You know that I gave credit. We would sit in meetings, and I would give credit to other people, even when it was my doing.
Absolutely.
But it would be, oh, sales and marketing did a great job with this, or HR did a great job with this, or front office did a great job with this, and such. And it's very, very important to make sure that you highlight those traits and such with other people, so that they feel that they had a part to play in the hotel.
So in regards to, and those are great key points for new managers also, to pick up on the things you just said, if they were to put some arrows, so to speak, or tools arrows into their quiver, I was going to say, or tools into their backpack. But one of the neat things that I saw when I was around you, here's the deal. When I deal with new managers that have just been recently promoted, I teach a lot of classes, stepping up to supervisor, pre-supervisory, and frontline supervisory classes. And I tell them, I say, you were in a position at one point, but now you're in charge. And I can tell you right now, folks, there are going to be people that are not going to like you simply because you are in charge right off the bat. And at some point, you may win some of those folks over, you may not, but just get used to that fact. But one of the things I noticed about you is that everyone liked you. Now, granted, there might have been folks that might have disagreed with you or might have felt maybe tiffed here and there, oh, Louis didn't like my idea. I don't know. But pretty much everyone liked you. And I saw it not only in our work environment, but when I walked out and I saw frontline hourly employees, housekeepers, front desk agents would come up and they would thank you, and they all liked you. Everyone in our hotel, from frontline to management, liked you and liked working with you. And how do you accomplish something like that? What are some of those key qualities to tell someone to say, this is what I did?
We're all people. We are all in this together. And as I mentioned, there's really nobody that is any better than another person in a hotel. Yes, you may have more responsibilities than the housekeeper in that hotel, but at the same token, that housekeeper's got an extremely important job to do. And everybody has some type of thing that they're going through. And you have to understand what somebody's going through. You have to understand, okay, somebody coming to work may have a family issue. Their car may be broken down and they don't have the money to get it fixed. And everybody has something that is a challenge to them. And first, if you listen to them, it helps. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, treat people with respect. You give them the respect and understand who they are, understand their kids, and understand, I remember Christmas holiday parties and such, and, sometimes the team members would bring their kids in, and you would have a housekeeper and they'd bring their family in, and you would look at their kids and extremely articulate, educated. This person has put their children through school by working as a housekeeper and are so proud of their children
right
for where they are, and to embrace that. And not just that day, but a week later, how's your son doing? How's your husband doing? Those kind of things, that you bring the people aspect into this business.
Right.
Because that's what we're all people, and we all have to get along, and we all have to work together, and we all have to have that same common mission. And I think if we all treat people respectfully and with dignity, everything else falls in place.
Right. And it's showing you care. And I saw that every time we had an employee event, team member event, you would show up, you would walk around, you would shake hands, and you did something that I actually used to do, or a variant of that. When I would notice one of my employees was talking to one of their parents on the phone, I would say, let me have the phone. And I would get on the phone and I would tell their parent how great of an employee they were, especially because it was true. And I know you would do the same if you had someone. Sometimes they'd bring their parents.
Right.
And you would reiterate how much you enjoyed having that employee on the team, and that made them
how
feel
important
good.
they were to our team.
And how important they were. Right. So I really like that. So you've got.
And I got slimed a lot. I got pied a lot.
You did. You jumped in. So the whole aspect, folks, of the Nickelodeon hotel was we would do crazy things, and we would dump slime on people. We would throw pies in faces for birthdays. And even though Louis was the managing director, former vice president of Hilton Hotels, a very elite position, right? He would still allow himself to get pied, slimed, and be the I'm going to say the butt of the jokes, but you would have fun with it. You would dress up at Halloween. Your Uncle Sam costume was one of the best. I like that. You've got a few others out there that but it's all leadership, and you have a leadership message today. I know that. And you've got some leadership qualities. Talk to me about leadership.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, you brought up about leadership. And when you look at what we did and again, we'll go back to Nickelodeon. You look at what we did at Nickelodeon, all those were fun. All that stuff was fun because it presents you as, just a normal person with everybody else. Okay. You're just the same as everybody else, but you're still the leader, and people are still expecting you to lead them down the path. The owners still want profitability in the hotel. The guests still want great service and a great product. And one of my philosophies has always been the people, product, and profit. You remember that, right?
Absolutely.
People, product, profit. You got to take care of your people who are going to take care of your guests. You have to have a good product for your guest, so that they feel that they're getting their fair share. And then you have to have profitability for your ownership, because otherwise you won't have people in the profit or the people in the product and such. So I think that's all very, very important. So the leadership, it's my responsibility as the leader to bring everybody together with a common set of goals, and I always try to shelter, sometimes not necessarily at the Nick Hotel, but at other properties I've been, sometimes you have to shelter people from ownership, because the ownership will not relay the same message that you will relay, and have the same type of motivation of your team members that you will have. You have to get the job done. That is my job.
Right.
And I looked at, with Nickelodeon, what we had to do and what we had to accomplish, just as I have looked at every hotel that I've managed or overseen, or in any consulting job that I've done. How do you lead to get the desired results? And how do you motivate people to get those results for you? Mm-hmm. That to me is leadership.
Right. Awesome. And human resources.
Yes.
What do you think about HR? You have any
Wow.
thoughts as far as how HR?
I do, Chuck.
Not that I'm an HR person and I really care, but I know you were very HR friendly. I know you were, and I've worked for a whole number of folks over the years. Some very HR friendly, some would talk about being HR friendly. You were very HR friendly.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I believe that HR is the ears of the hotel. They will, if you provide that type of management and leadership in your property, HR will be able to go around and talk to people and also get to know what's going on in the hotel. Because although some people may not tell me things, they would tell people in HR, Chuck, we got to improve this. Chuck, we got to work on that. And if you have that open line of communication, you're going to come back to me and say, hey, I was talking to several of our team members, and they wanted us, they would like us to do da 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 da. And we would go and we would consider those things. That's what having those eyes and ears are all about. We have two ears because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk, right?
Right. That's right. I used to talk about that in listening skills class.
Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah. No. So knowing that this is an HR class, an HR show, I actually thought of what are my top 10 HR defining moments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we could probably spend about 12 hours with this, but so I'll just go through a few of these that will somewhat highlight some of my career and some of those defining moments. One of the most important moments that I had when I was about 32 years old, I was a general manager of a hotel, and I decided to finish my college degree because I had not. I had 3 years at the University of Houston, and I dropped out because I was making so much money in the hotel business. At least I thought I was.
Right.
So, and I kept progressing rapidly in the business. So I dropped out of school to pursue that. And that was back in the days when we had to work 70, 80 hours a week to be a good manager. Right. But I went back to school when I was 32, and I knew it all by that time. I'd been a general manager for 4 or 5 years at that point. I was a cocky young person that knew it all. And I went back to school, and it was amazing. The professors, I really didn't learn a lot from the professors because they asked me more questions because I was a general manager. Louis, what do you think? What do you think?
Oh, right.
Where I learned was from the people in the class, the students, the other students. They were hospitality, they were guest service agents, they were housekeepers, they were food and beverage managers, they were sous chefs and things like that. I learned more from them by listening to them and their stories and what they went through at their hotels. And I had this like light, just like, shut up and listen, Louis, just shut up and listen. And I learned more from those folks, and it changed my career. I honestly have to say it changed my career. It took the cockiness, it took that edge off of me, and realized that listen to the people because they're telling you the stories of their GMs, and they're telling you the stories of their leadership that they're getting at their properties. Defining moment. And it really changed me, and it really challenged me to listen better in my career. So that was one of them. Another one I think is really, this is a cool one, is the CFHLA. I'm past president or past chairman of CFHLA, and I developed the CFHLA employee recognition program for Orlando. I also did it in Miami. I developed and implemented the whole program in both cities, and nothing makes me happier than to see 500 people, and you've been to these events, and to see 500 of our best team members in this town, all in the same room. They're all great. Every one of them can win an award. Every one of them can win first place. And it's a shame we only have to pick one, but it's just great to see and to show our community, our service ambassadors, and what these people do in our hotels day in and day out. So that one's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, folks, just so you know, CFHLA, Louis is referred to Central Florida Hotel Lodging Association, and the event is called the Golden Pineapple Awards. It is described as the Academy Awards for the Orlando, Central Florida hospitality industry. Every hotel nominates their top housekeeper, their top front desk agent, their top engineering and maintenance person, down the line, culinary. They get to go up on stage. Everyone dresses up. It's almost tuxedo quality type of an event. And one person is chosen amongst the group as the top housekeeper in the city. And we do this year after year. It is a huge event. The smiles, to see everyone dressed up. The employees that are nominated are able to bring a guest, usually their husband, their spouse, their wife. It's great stuff. It's great stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
Touching,
give me one more.
Touching.
Give me one more.
Okay. I think one of the best HR learning experiences I had was down in Miami. And it was very interesting because when I went to interview for the job, I always go and I sit in the lobby. I watch how the hotel operates and learn from the culture. Realize that the managers would walk by the team members, not talk to them. The team members would start whispering after the managers would walk by, and all that.
Right.
So there was a really very horrible culture in that property. I mentioned that in my first interview to the HR person, the HR director, and she's like just shocked. I mean, I thought I said something wrong. And she says, "How did you know?" I'm saying, "Well, it's obvious, I explained the story." And so I started. This hotel had one GM a year for the past 4 years, similar to Nickelodeon before I got there.
Right.
And they were second to last in the company in their team opinion survey. So within 1 year, we were number 2 in our team opinion survey in that company. And to tell you the story, they thought DoubleTree at the time when they hired me, I remember the hiring person said, "Do you speak Spanish?" And I said, I speak a little bit. And they said, "Well, we need somebody that speaks Spanish. We're not having any success in that hotel. most of the team members speak Spanish, and that's why we're having this problem. And I said, excuse me, I said, I'm willing to learn Spanish, not a problem. But I said, that's not your problem in the hotel. The problem in your hotel is your culture. And the problem in the hotel is that your managers are not respecting the people that they're working with.
Yep.
And that was the start. And that hotel had EEOC lawsuits. It had team lawsuits against the hotel, because the employees knew that if they didn't get what they wanted, they would just file an EEOC or do lawsuits. So we stood up to every one of them. We had team members that worked for the hotel. They were still working for us and had filed EEOC suits. No problem. You know, we dealt with each and every one of them. Every one of them was treated fairly and stuff. Within a year, all the lawsuits stopped. You know, it was the toughest HR. And there's 100 more of those stories at that hotel, but that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. But definitely a great learning experience for myself and our team, and what we accomplished in that property.
Sure. And so to summarize, it's more than just saying respect and surface level. It's digging deep. It's showing respect, mirroring it, and living that. And that's what you did. That's what you did, and turned that culture. This is awesome. Look, we are getting down to our last couple of minutes, but I want to allow you the chance to talk about your HR, not HR. You're not an HR consultant. That's me. But you could be. Your hotelier, your resort development consultancy. What are you doing now, and how could people get hold of you, and what would be that experience if they did?
Sure, Chuck. Thanks for asking. So I've done in the past couple of years several consulting assignments, and they're all varied. And some have to do with hotel development. Some have to do with finding hotel brands for properties, working on feasibility studies, pro formas, things like that. I helped open a hotel for a company. One of my first consulting job that I ever did. Sorry, this is an HR thing, but one of my first consulting jobs was, the hotel had very, very poor service scores, and the brand had sent them a letter saying that you better get your service scores up or we're canceling the brand. So this company hired me, and the way that I dealt with the problem was, I went in. First off, I stayed in the hotel anonymously. Secondly, I went and interviewed every department manager and a lot of the team members in the hotel. Even though I wasn't supposed to do the team members, I still did the team members, just because they tell you a lot more than the managers do. And I found the root cause of what the guest service problems were. Mm-hmm. And then I developed a training program to offset all of that. And what we did, so I did a training program, worked in conjunction with, half of it I developed, half of it was AHLA training materials, and I delivered that training program personally to 200 team members, at 4 different sessions. And just to give you within a month, service scores had shot up 30%. TripAdvisor moved up 10 to 12, I think it was 12 spots, if I remember correctly, in that 1 month period. And, again, it was just finding the problem, providing the solution, training people to, here's our expectations, and then going out and deliver it. It was a great job. So I worked for a doctor, helping him buy a hotel. I sourced the hotel, found the lender, found the management company, negotiated the deal, did the letter of intent, purchase and sales agreement, the whole bit. And we did the PIP, the due diligence. And unfortunately, 2 weeks before we were supposed to close, COVID hit, and I advised him that it would probably be worthwhile to not pursue this deal anymore. So he did not. So I've done a little of everything, Chuck. Again, from operations to the development side of it, and I love each and every one that I do. I love the development aspect a little bit more because it requires more thinking and more where do we want to go from here, and what's the long term, and how do we get those results, because I don't like to quote numbers if I can't get those delivered.
Right.
So those are some of the projects that I've done.
Well, I want to tell you, I want to say how, let you share how people can get hold of you, because
Sure.
and that info will be down below. But
Okay.
before I do,
Yes.
I'm going to challenge you on something you said, because what you started off by saying this example may not be an HR example, but this show and the folks I've had on here, and you did it without even thinking about it. A great employee experience directly relates to a great customer experience. And so
Yes.
you did the training, you hired the right people, and you turned, and you probably put some other processes in place
Yes.
with the help of the people, and you turned that around. So that's what I love about you and working with you, is you understand that the EX, as we call it, is a direct relation to the CX, which equals profit. Employee engagement equals customer engagement. That's a subject for another show at some point, but I wanted to share that with you. How could folks get in touch with you, Louis Robbins?
Sure. I'm Orlando based. I've lived in Orlando for 25 years. My website is www.robinshotelconsulting.com, and my email is lewis@robinshotelconsulting.com. And you can look me up on LinkedIn or whatever. You can call Chuck Samikian because he knows how to get in touch with me. I'm pretty well known throughout Orlando, so a lot of people know how to find me.
Absolutely.
And it's a wonderful town. It's a great hospitality town, and it's going to bounce back one day, and we're excited that that's going to happen. So
yeah, if they can get near you, because your throngs of fans are attracted to you like little pieces of metal to a magnet as you walk by. All right, Louis Robbins, thank you for being here today on the HR and Leadership Spotlight Show. It was
thank
awesome.
you, Chuck, and thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome. Folks, I just want to let you know, we loved having Louis on here. On the show, we would love to have you. If you have a message to get out and you are frustrated with how you're getting that message out, not that Louis is, but if you want a better exposure marketing-wise, we can help you out. Do you want to get hold of us at gethrhelpnow.com? In fact, if you have HR challenges in your organization, we can help. We would love to help you, and we would love to have you on the HR and Leadership Spotlight Show. Once again, cheers, Louis.
Chuck, thank you. Have a great day.
Awesome. And we will see you around town.